Oh my goodness, this is amazing. I think this is a great moment to take it to the episode, shall we?
Let's go for it.
Let's do it. Okay, we'll have a little break here. Just so I can move the cards. Yeah, like elevator music.
Cute instrumental jazz.
Do you know what I mean? Do da do da do da do.
Beautiful.
Let's start the podcast. I am getting my notes on my phone. Amazing, amazing. Let's go. Right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to a podcast. Sorry, I just said welcome to the podcast. I want to say welcome to DM Talks. Okay.
Wait, can I just scratch my ear?
Scratch your ear as much as you like. I love us. It's so funny.
Shut my hair.
You look great. Honestly, you look great. When I came on, I was like, Kwame.
Shut up.
No, you do. Remember, because I remember in first year when you were growing your hair out, and look at it now.
Look at it now.
Flowing.
How time flies.
Do you know what I mean? Oh, amazing. So let's go. Hi everyone, welcome to DM Talks, a podcast that aims to promote well-being and assist healing, whether that be physically, mentally or spiritually. Ultimately, we just want to be seen in our entirety, and this podcast hopes to show listeners how multifaceted they are. We're all at the centre of our own universe, so why don't we do more to better our own existence? Boo, 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 boo. That's cannons there. Hi everyone.
Yeah.
How are we all today? I'm Sarah.
Hollywood budget.
Oh my god, the comedy's already started. I'm so excited for this episode. Hi everyone, I'm Sarah, the host of your favourite wellbeing podcast. Now I'm very excited to introduce my guests today. They are multifaceted by nature. They are a theatre and film director, an actor, a playwright, everything and more. They graduated from the University of Manchester with a first class in English and drama, and now has gone on to study theatre and directing at Birkbeck, University of London. Can we welcome the magnificence, Kwame!
Woo! Nice to be here, Sarah.
Thank you so much for joining me. Like, honestly, I'm so excited to hear your voice. I was talking about the podcast today with a friend, and I was like, oh, I'm just excited to talk to Kwame. It's been a minute, you know. How have you been? How's life?
I'm good. I'm looking forward to Christmas. Looking forward to like a normal event in the calendar that happens, pandemic or no pandemic.
Yes, you're right.
But yeah, I'm good. Just, you know, living life, doing uni, seeing friends where I can, outside, obviously. But yeah, literally nothing to report out of the ordinary. Very normal. But I feel like normal is good sometimes, you know, especially in these times where everything is so up in the air. A bit of 9-to-5 normality isn't necessarily a bad thing.
No, you're for sure right, because at the end of the day, it's like, this is our new normal, isn't it? It's like anything before February 2020 was an idea. It was an idea.
It was a myth.
It was a myth. And like, we cannot take that ideal from 2020 February, pre-February, right? Because if we take that to now, it ignores all the lessons, all the reflection, all the rumination that has got us to this point. And that stands for every single body that's walking on this planet, you know, like.
Absolutely.
I think because I was learning about tarot fairly recently, and there's these two cards. You got the sun, you got the moon first, and then you got the sun. And like, the moon is like your inner world, and the sun is like your outer world. And with the moon, we have an idea, we have our intuition. However, when we take it to the sun, we've externalized it. However, any idea pre-February 2020 is an idea. It's an ideal of an idea, because those were the opportunities we were met with. We hadn't been through a pandemic before. So if now we're like, oh, I want to do this like this, how it suited me before then, is that going to help you? Nah.
Yeah, exactly.
It's crazy.
Exactly.
What have you learned? Tell me about it. What have you learned this week?
What have I learnt this week? What have I learnt? I mean, I feel more optimistic, you know, and hopeful, especially with the news about the vaccine. It really feels like, I don't know if I've already said this, but like it feels like we're kind of at the beginning of the end a little bit, like in a good way. And because you know, before it just kind of felt kind of endless and open-ended. So whereas now it feels like, oh, maybe like next summer could actually be kind of normal.
Yeah.
And when you have a destination in mind, it makes the journey a lot easier, I think. Hello? Can you hear
Hello.
me?
Sorry, I didn't hear the last bit. What did you say, my love?
I just said at the end that, like, when you have the destination in mind, it normally makes the journey a lot easier. And so...
You're right.
So I
it's
think,
like...
because we can kind of see where that end point will be, it's kind of... It just makes getting through these last days of it that a little bit easier.
No, you're so right. And I think on that note, like, we should definitely take it into the divine, because we're trying to, like, shine light on the world. We're trying to bring that good energy, those good vibes. Like, even though we're in a pandemic, it's what we make out of this time and what we can do with what we have, you know? For this week, right, in the divine, bloop, 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 is where we shine a light in when we want to nominate good things, you know, we want to shine a light on something that brought us joy, right? And for this week, I've decided to nominate this YouTuber, right? So her channel is called Afri Fitness, and like, I'm gonna lie, you're gonna fucking love this. It's fucking brilliant, right? So her name is Rachel Okesola, and she's the creator of Afri Fitness, an expert in African fitness and wellness. And if you're looking to have, her bio says, if you're looking for a fun Afrobeat dance workout videos, then you've come to the right place. So like, I've been exercising more so during like lockdown or like during this time, because I do think physical exercise has such an impact on my mood. And I found this YouTuber, and she does Afrobeat dance classes, but like in her kitchen. So you can just put it on YouTube and do it before, you start your day in the morning, and it's really helped me. Like, she's got like even 8-minute videos which are quite short, or she's got like half an hour videos that you can do with like weights and stuff, and it's just one fun way of exercising my body, moving, and also like just feeling a bit better about my day. Like, I definitely would recommend. She's top shout out. So yeah, Rachel Okesola, you're doing bits.
Also, I'll check her out. She sounds brilliant.
Mate, honestly, it's so fun. I was doing this Burner Man one the other day. Like, she does like dance workouts for like different songs. So like, I'll go wake up, brush my teeth, and then I'll like get a tea, but I'll do one of the Burner, like the 8-minute videos whilst I'm like drinking my tea, and I'm like, yes, you can. You can do anything. Do you know what I mean? And then I go to work. That's such a great way to start your day. Exactly. And it's just a bit more like productive. I'm feeling a bit more like energized when I do them. But that's my nomination for the Divine. What's yours?
So my nomination for the Divine it's a broader one. It's a group of people.
Oh, I love that. Let's go.
That I'd like to praise. So I want to pick freelance theatre workers, because they're kind of very close to my heart. Yes. They're 70% of the whole workforce, and they haven't been given any government support because most of them have fallen through this gap. And so they were already like under-resourced, underfunded. Many of them are on universal credit or 0-hour contracts and stuff. And then on top of this, the pandemic has just kind of exacerbated that because of, obviously live events are closed down. And it's ridiculous because like for example, for every £1 that the government puts in taxes to the arts, they get £5 back. For every £1, they get £5 back.
That's crazy.
So when you're putting money into these things and into these people, like it's not like a gift, it's an investment, and they're getting more money back than they put in. So it's a shame that the government don't see it like that. So I want to shout out all of the many freelance workers who are struggling to survive in this current climate, and being resilient and being brilliant.
Oh, no. Oh, I love that. No, that's such a shout, because the thing is, it's like, where would we be without the arts? Do you know what I mean? Like, we need that creativity. We need that, like, it's like a scripted fantasy, you know? It's like, Well, when I go to the theatre, I think if you're a good actor, you're a good actress if you can make me think that I am you. You can make me feel like I can empathize with you, if I can be put in your shoes. I think that's such a powerful thing. And if you go to the theatre, you see it in so much talent, and it's such an awakening experience. Like, I've learned so much by going to plays and going to the theatre. So I love that nomination. It's so good.
Thank you,
Kwame. I really like that.
My pleasure.
Could you tell us some of your history in the theatre?
Some of
Why
my
does that? Yeah, why does that resonate with you so much?
Yeah, I mean, I've always been part of it. Always loved it. I think I just really love. I really love storytelling, and because I make films as well. But I think what kind of connects is it's just all about storytelling, and that's what I really love. I only started directing.
Aww.
I only started directing 4 years ago. So before that, I was just an actor and a writer. But yeah, so I'm doing a directing masters at the moment. I'm also in the emerging writers group at the Bush Theatre, which is really cool. So I'm writing a play for them. Making some films on the side, hopefully, as well, and some other radio plays and monologues too. But yeah, I just love it. I think it's really powerful. I think theatre and film are some of the most powerful art forms that there are, and yeah, I just love being a part of it.
Oh my goodness! As you're talking, I've just got a smile from here to here, because it's just like, I love seeing people do what they love. Like, I love seeing people like go through their passions and like just keep being motivated. And I sorry, 2 seconds. Bear with me 2 seconds. No, honestly, that makes me so happy, because I just love seeing my friends follow their passions, follow their dreams. What got you into the theatre? What got you into directing? Or is that like a sort of twisted story?
No, not at all. I think it absolutely is that, like, following passions and like, yeah. I mean, what I really love about directing is that you get the opportunity to facilitate other people's passions as well, and like give people the space to really be who they want to be and say what they want to say. And so that just really excites me. The opportunity to empower and enable other artists is a lot of the reason why I do what I do.
I'm being inspired just by talking to you. Like, that's really
up.
affirming. No, honestly, I really am. I think this is a great moment to take it to the Decoding the Messes. And this is a segment where we unpack something, unpack mess, whether we consider it online or offline. And this week's episode is all about motivation. You've probably heard me, listeners, talk fangirling over Kwame, being like, oh my God, this is so cool. But like, I really am... No, honestly, I really want to give you all the praises, just because it's like, I know I struggle so much with procrastination to the point where I'm quite, I get quite a defeatist attitude, but then I have to check myself and I have to look at my things or at what I've created, whether they're in the physical sense or whether they're theory, whether they're connections, whether they're like spiritual partnerships, you know? And I'm like, no, you've done a lot. So obviously you must keep motivated. My first question for you, Kwame, is what is your source of motivation? Like, if you could think of anything about it.
I think that my main source of motivation or inspiration is just my like unshakable belief in the power of the art forms that I work in. You know, like I'm really driven by a belief that stories transmit power, and like the arts and culture and ideas and the stories that we tell about those ideas can actually shape the fabric of our society. And that, you know, we can use like, I mean, theatre and film in my case, that's what I work in, but with any art form, they can be used to radically interrogate our past and our present and collectively imagine possible futures. And I think with all that possibility and power in it, I think I'm motivated by a desire to unlock and enable all that potential impact on the world in which we're in.
Oh, that's lovely. I guess, like, well, my follow-up question to that is, if you've got an idea, right?
Yeah.
And yes, you have your belief. Your belief isn't, it's not physical, it's not materialised yet. How what do you do to strengthen that belief or strengthen that sort of movement to getting the things that you want?
So I guess, firstly, is find the first thing I do with most things is find collaborators that inspire me, because you know what's the phrase? It takes a village to raise a child, doesn't it? And
Yes.
like with anything, like especially with like theatre and film and stuff, like you're never ever like a one person band. You're always collaborating, always making. And I think that having those people around you that are on your wavelength and are speaking your language is a source of motivation in itself. I think for me anyway.
Oh, no, no, you're so right. And do you know what this just reminded me of? You were actually my first ever guest on DM Talks. Did you know that?
Yeah, back in the day.
Yeah. So this is a little content for the listeners. But I
Full
guess
circle.
in third year, I think, yeah, so not this year, but the year before last, when I tried to set up my podcast before, you were my first guest, and we were just talking about our frustrations, and we were talking about our wants and desires. But because we were in like a very, I guess, reflective space, they were sort of, well, it was channeled in a cooperative way, wasn't it? It's like I
Yeah.
liked your content that you're providing. I know that we can have a good conversation. So let's work together to sort of cultivate this idea. You know, let's work together to get this idea off the ground and put
Yeah.
it into something. Oh, that's so cute.
Exactly. And like I tend to like think of collaborations like chemical. Oh, you're frozen. Am I frozen? Am I back? I'm back. I'm back. I'm back.
Yeah, you're back. There you go.
But yeah, I tend to think about them as like, it's like a chemical reaction, isn't it? Like every single person is different. We're all our own unique chemical, but the synthesis
Yeah.
of those together creates this reaction, which is something even better than the two things on their own.
You're right. That's synergy. Like I've actually been learning a lot about synergy in relation to tarot cards, because
Yeah.
I could pull out two cards, but the meaning, the independent meaning with each other is not the same as the collective shared understanding of both these ideas. So if you're talking about that in a sort of cooperative, working together community sense to make your projects, make your theatre, make your films, and like I'm doing it in a spiritual sense, then using those platforms are able to sort of develop new sort of timelines and develop new narratives to sort of showcase the stories that is provided through film and art
Yeah.
form. So
Precisely.
complete full circle. Oh, that's amazing. I guess my next question then is, how do you hold momentum? Because I know I struggle with, like, if the goal is not in my forefront, I struggle sort of holding momentum for it, just because I still remember it, but it's not as strongly there. Like I think when I was younger and I was working like non-stop in like hospitality and stuff, I would like plan. I guess you're younger, so you're a bit more of a student. Do you know what I mean? It's like your
Yeah.
days are more scheduled. So
Yeah.
like it's like I'd go to work, but I would also like book this time off for this thing that I wanted to do. Therefore, I was working towards that goal. It was a date in sight. Well, and also, even now, I'm talking about a situation pre-corona times. Do you know what I mean? Pre-pandemic times. Time is not... Do you know what I mean? Time doesn't exist now. Like, time
Yeah.
isn't linear. Like, you literally do things what you want. So, like, I guess what my question is for you is, how do you withhold momentum with your motivation?
I get yeah, because what you're saying is like it's so important, and I guess firstly and foremost is about celebrating and remembering your achievements. I think we're in a culture, even globally, where we're kind of taught that life is just this fast moving train that is always going forwards and never looking backwards, and which always makes you think that you're starting from scratch, but actually you're not starting from scratch. And I think it's always important to remember the amazing things that you've done, but to remind yourself what you're capable of. And then that in itself is a source of inspiration, because you've faced bigger hurdles before, and you've probably felt the exact same way before, that, oh, I'm too busy, or, oh, I'm not getting this thing quite right, etc., etc. But actually, you know that you've gone through that process, you've done that thing, and therefore you can do the next thing.
You're so right. Do you think that's self-sabotage then? Like when we sort of give ourselves more time to exercise those outdated beliefs, those like, oh, I can't do it, I'm not enough, all of that. It's basically sort of like sorry, I can't speak today. Self-sabotage on this sort of idea of what I'm being motivated towards, and therefore sort of reducing the time for me carrying out this idea, carrying out this like task.
Yeah. I mean, I reckon it's just all about like being as ambitious with yourself as possible, like never limiting your ambition, but also being kind to yourself at the same time. You know, like what I try and do is I just try and like, because I've got stuff to do, like part of my degree or like extracurricular creative stuff, etc. etc. I just try and make to-do lists of like, I've got to do X, Y, and Z, and the list might be really long, too long even, and I'm being as ambitious as possible. But if I reach the end of the day and I've only done 3 out of 6 of those things, I just move it. I just recalibrate the schedule and just copy and paste one thing to a couple of days' time. And I go, okay, I didn't get done everything I wanted to do today, but I still set my ambitions high. And I did what I did do to a standard that I'm happy with. And so I just go to sleep and you wake up and it's a new day and then you do the next thing.
I wish you were in my mind, Kwame, because like hearing you speak in such a like fluid, sort of accepting and forward way has really given me a better understanding of how I can go about my goals. I think there's a list of certain things in life that we want to do. Well, there's always lists, isn't there? There's always something that we want to do. There's always a project that we want to dabble in.
Yeah,
There's always
of course.
a friendship that we need to work on. There's always something, you know? And like, I guess that's the problem. It's the thinking that there's something needs us to, I don't know. What I'm trying to say is like, the problem is us thinking that we need to wait, thinking that we need to stall and make sure that we're ready to then go. But if we just are aware of it, wrote it down and come to it when we have to, then we're obviously moving forward.
Yeah, exactly. Like you can only, it sounds so like, you know, annoyingly obvious to say, but you can only do what you can do in that moment. And what you could do 5 minutes ago will be different to what you can do now, and that'll be different to what you can do in 5 minutes time. And so you can only ever live in whatever energy you're in that very moment.
Would you describe yourself quite a present person?
I would describe myself as trying to be a present person, as aspiring to be. I think I try and have both in my head. I try and have both in my head in that I'm existing in the present, but I'm also looking forward to what I want to do in the future. I think it's all about having goals and ambitions without wishing your life away, isn't it?
Yeah. No, that's right, because it's like I need to be comfortable and accepting of myself now because that's all I have. That's all the certainty that I have right now. However, I need to understand or sort of push myself to want more and do more with what I have, or how I can let my sort of how can I start my legacy, you know? Or shape it at some point, at least, because I've been thinking about that a lot. Like, I think if you looked at me on the surface, I'm quite a motivated person because I'm always doing random shit. Like, I'm just always doing things. Like, it's either a podcast, it's either like, I don't know, working. Like, there's always something that I'm doing. However, because I'm not really counting my achievements whilst I'm doing it, I don't realise how good they are, you know? But we need to all be our biggest fan. Do you give yourself pep talks? Because I feel like me and you are like, I can imagine us both doing that, because I know I do.
I feel like I do it in the sense of like, I like to talk to people about my plans, you know?
Okay.
And like, in that sense of like saying, oh, I can't wait to do this, I can't wait to do that, you're kind of manifesting it for yourself, I think. Mm-hmm. You know? So,
no, you're sure.
I haven't quite reached the level of talking to myself in the mirror. But maybe, who knows? Who knows what's on the horizon? But yeah, I think like, for me, often plans aren't real until like I've put it out, then I've said I want to do it, because then it's easy to forget about it. And it's nice to have like your close friends or like people that you trust who can like be that helpful source of reminder of like, oh, like, don't get sidetracked by this chore because you've still got that dream that you want to go for, and like just stuff like that, which I find quite helpful. So I guess it's kind of like keeping both feet in the present, but having one eye on the future and one eye on what you've already done.
Oh, I like that. Yeah, because it's like we can't move on without the lessons from the past, isn't it? It's like the past mistakes or past lessons or sort of any things in our sort of previous life have informed us, shaped us, helped us gain consciousness of how to strategically move in the world, you know? So you have to be mindful of, I guess, those strengths and those weaknesses. However, it's like forwards ever, backwards never. It's like I need to have this belief in, like, this shaped in my entirety, this whole belief in myself that I can receive more because I'm doing more, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Oh, I'm learning so much from you. This is great.
Likewise.
Do you have any tips to heighten your motivation?
Tips to heighten my motivation?
Or do you have any things, like little bits of inspiration that help you sort of keep the mindset that you have? Maybe that's a better question.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's just all about... locating the source of the motivation, because I think we always have motivation, you know? Like, even if you don't think about it, like, at the forefront of your mind, when you wake up, you're motivated to have breakfast, have a shower, go outside to get something, watch TV. So, like, whatever it is, you always have motivation. But I think it's making sure that motivation comes from a place that is productive rather than destructive, that it comes from a place of joy and excitement rather than dread and anxiety.
Oh, yeah. No, that's so right.
Because I think it's really easy to allow your motivation to be fueled by thinking, oh, I haven't done enough, or X has done more than I have on this thing, or, oh, what have I done? Like, it's 2 p.m. and all I've done is watch The Crown, or, you know, whatever it is, like, like, you know, whatever it is, like, it's easy for your motivation to come from that place of, like, comes from an unhealthy place.
Yeah.
And so I think it's sort of just like repositioning that motivation to come from a place where it's like, there are so many possibilities that I could claim and that I could succeed in, or that I could try and do. And you probably won't be able to do every single one of those straight away, but it's about having that intention that comes from a place of productivity and excitement that I think is the key thing.
Oh, no, you honestly, I needed to hear this conversation today. I really did, because, like, sometimes I worry where my motivation is coming from. But after listening to what you just said, it kind of reminds me that my motivation might come from a material place at some point, or become from a very egotistical place at some point. And if it's coming from a place like that, then you're always gonna be left unsatisfied, because you're only, like, compensating for sort of an external expectation.
Yeah,
this is so
exactly.
interesting.
Because there's no point ever really comparing yourself to other people, because you are only yourself.
True.
And you can only ever do what you can do, and they can't do what you can do.
No, you're so right. I actually was listening to Kelechi's podcast, Say Your Mind, the other day, and she talked this idea about how everyone gets given gifts, and are these gifts fruits or are they seeds? Are they the seed to plant the idea to get you your fruit in a later date, or is it the fruit that you've got because you planted your seed before this time? And this is very important. Why not to compare yourselves to other people? Because it's like you can go on Insta, everybody's just posting their fruits. Everybody's just showcasing their fruits. Nobody is posting their failures. So therefore, you want to compare and contrast, being like, why don't I have this fruit? You don't know when they planted that seed. You really, really don't. And that's why we should never compare ourselves to others.
That's so true. It's so true. And like social media is like, it's such a double-edged sword, because like if you know, the only way, well, for me anyway, the only way it can work is if I know what it is and what it's for, you know? Like you just said, like no one's going to be posting, oh, like I've just sent off a job application, I hear back in 2 weeks. They're going to post in 2 weeks' time, I got the job, aren't they?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, and so like it's knowing that it's that, and knowing that you go to it when you're in that right frame of mind to boost other people. And when you need to focus on yourself, then just chuck that phone in the bin. And, you know, open a book.
Well, maybe not in the bin, but I know exactly what you mean. Like, I'll be there doing stuff with my phone. Like, especially with this podcast, I use Instagram to promo, or I go on Facebook, X, Y, and Z. And, like, yes, that's grateful. Yes, I'm grateful because it's accessible, it's free. Like, I'm literally exchanging content with different networks, you know? However, sometimes I get distracted and then I scroll for 2 hours and I'm like, I could have used that time elsewhere, and I'll just throw my phone away from me. And I'm like, ew, get away from me. But I completely respect sort of that mindset, because it's like, if I just see you and use you as a tool, then I'm not going to be met with the sort of the frustrations and the confusion of social media. I'm just going to use it for its intended purpose and shower praise and likes to things that inspire me, which is really lovely. Oh no, that's really nice. I thought I should talk about some of my tips that I do to heighten my motivation.
Please do.
One of them is visualization. It's either internal visualizations or physical ones. So when I say internal ones, I meditate often, and sometimes at the end of my meditation, I become quite restless. So one way that I do to try and combat this is that I'll do like maybe a notification or a timer or like something when it's nearing the end of like, let's say the last 3 minutes or like the last 5 minutes of my meditation.
Yeah.
I will before that time, I try not to think of anything, but after that time, I just try and allow anything to come up to my mind, but then channel that to my wants and desires. So like, I'll be meditating, and it'll come to the end of my meditation. I'll start to think about some goals, what I want to be, how I want to be in my education stance, what I want for this podcast, what I want for my family, like what I want for my dreams. And because I'm visualizing it, I can see it, and hopefully it will come into fruition, because that is like the first step of manifestation. I think it's like believing that you can accept it, you know, walking in a way that you can receive your blessings. And with visualization, that's really helped me. Another one that's really popular is mood boards. So that's like an external visualization. And that's like printing out all of your things that you want, whether it's like your dream house, whether it's like your dream car. Like, I know that I've just said sort of physical examples about them, but that doesn't necessarily mean it just has to be physical things. Like, I would love to write a book one day. I'd love it. So like me literally writing, like drawing a little cartoon of a book and writing by Sarah D.M., that's a manifestation. Now that's on my mood board, and now that is going to inspire me. And because it like just placed on my wall, it's something that I can interpret and like take in every single day.
Yeah.
Oh, I actually just realised I've got one more to share you. Can you see behind me that says, I don't know, fam?
Yeah.
So I'm going to ask you, Josh, if you can like move that a tiny bit so I can show you this. Sorry.
Oh, the camera.
Yeah. I'm going to ask to move the camera angle as well. Can everybody see this for my YouTube family? So this
Not
is
yet.
a canvas.
We can't see it yet.
So this canvas, right?
Perfect.
I bought it from Society 6. It's in America. It's basically loads of independent artists They've got a place where they can sell their artwork. They can sell it in tapestries. They can sell it in bags. They can sell it in everything and everything. And I've got a magic 8-ball here. And if you've ever used one before, it's like you press it, you ask a question, you press it, and it says yes, no, maybe, whatever. This one has I don't know, fam. It's literally like the biggest reminder to me of, you know what, you don't know what's going to happen, but at least you're in control of your world. You're in control of your destiny. You're in control of your experiences because you can choose how to move with them. When people are met with uncertainty, it's very easy to be like, and just retreat and revert backwards. However, I used to have this this tapestry up every single day of third year. And it was the first thing that I saw, and it just refocused my mind. It inspired me to that. I don't know what might happen today, but I know how I feel now, and that is an energy that I can take on throughout my present. So those are my tips.
Those are really fantastic tips. And
yay.
Because the whole thing, the only way you get through life is through imagining where you could be or what you could do. And so, I think that's at the heart of what you've just said, which is really powerful.
Oh, amazing. I feel like this has been such a reflective Decoding the Messes. Like, normally they're like, oh, did you hear what this happened? What happened here? But this one's been like, how can we use our motivation to uplift us? Which is, it's just lovely.
Yeah.
I think that means that we're in time for the tarot bit. The tarot episode.
Let's
the
go.
Tarot segment. Amazing. Have you ever had a little think about what you want to ask Spirit?
I have.
Oh, amazing. I am going to... I'm just going to pause for 1 second. I just want to... my housemate stole my lighter earlier, and I need a lighter for my sage, so bear with me 2 seconds.
Oh, okay, no worries.
Do you know what I mean? Amazing. I'm just burning some Palo Santo and some sage to cleanse some energy away from these decks. I ask for no projection, and I ask to use myself as a channel of communication to our higher selves. Ooh. Welcome back into the room, Kwame.
Thank you very much.
How you doing? Oh, I nearly took one of these out. I'm just burning some sage and some Palo Santo because I wanted to sage these cards because it's Tarot Talks. And you've got a gorgeous question. I'm so excited to do your spread. Can you reveal your question for us?
Absolutely. So my question is, where should one find motivation when you're hitting brick walls or obstacles?
Amazing. Okay, I'm shuffling the cards. Where should one find motivation when I'm constantly hitting brick walls? What was the last bit?
Or obstacles.
Or obstacles. Amazing.
And I didn't say constantly, but you can add that in for
I'm so
extra
sorry.
Flavor. No, it's fine. It's fine.
Do you know what? It's like, I feel like we're at different stages of our sort of personal development in relation to motivation. So maybe like I'm saying it in the sort of previous stages and you're like after the stages. That's the kind of vibe that I'm getting from this. But I'm shuffling some cards. You said, where can one find motivation when they're combating obstacles?
Yeah, hitting brick walls or obstacles.
Hitting brick walls or obstacles. That's what kept on getting me confused. I was like, which one did he say?
Both.
Amazing. Hitting brick walls or obstacles. Amazing. Okay. Burn some sage. Give us some clarity. I'm using the Ride Away deck today, and this is a gorgeous deck with so much symbolism. So I'm excited to learn from the reading. So
and I've never done
question,
a tarot reading before either, so it's exciting.
Have you never? Oh,
no,
I'm so excited that I can be the first person. This is great.
Yeah.
So your question is, how can one find motivation when they're hitting brick walls or obstacles? And I'm just going to shuffle a few cards. So I would like to do something different. I'd like you to tell me when to stop shuffling.
Okay, cool.
Okay, so I'm going to shuffle. Ooh, they're jumping out.
It's all that energy.
I love it. Ooh. If that card comes out again, I'm gonna talk about it. Okay.
Okay. Oh.
They're like, whoa.
Okay, and stop.
Okay. Amazing. Can you
Yes.
say a number between 1 to 3?
2.
Okay. Lovely. I'm gonna take the first 2 cards off this deck.
Okay.
Amazing. There's another card that also flew out. Oh, okay. Right. So, you asked, how can one find motivation when they are hitting walls and obstacles, you know?
Yeah.
And the first card that we got was the Emperor. The Emperor actually stands for Aries, so shout out to fire signs, and it could also be a shout out to me. But also it's to do with sort of authority. It's to do with standing your ground. Is to do with interpreting a system that is in front of you, but having the self-assurance and the capability to move through the system, sort of move through the environment and the space with a very determined, constructive, but also powerful stance. When you look at the Emperor in tarot, it talks about like the divine masculine, and it talks about how this sort of energy has to be, it's used for protection. It's used to sort of move through the world with this type of assertion. In contrast, you could look at the divine feminine as some energy that is nurturing you, that requires you to fill your own cup with love, that asks you to sort of heal and nurture from a very accepting and comforting way. But the divine masculine, on the other hand, is more of a action orientated, expansive sort of putting the cement blocks and the foundations and the routine to complete their goal, to provide successful manifestation of their project. I say this because you also have the King of Wands, and the King of Wands shows up when you're a master of your suit, right? Oh, I think I understand this reading. Oh wait, do you know what it is, right? The Emperor really resonates with Aries, and I'm an Aries, right? But the King of Wands also talks about sort of like a fire attribute. So let's say a court card, aka a king, only shows up when you have them or when you need them, right? And because the King of Wands is a master of their fire suit, they actually, you can see that they're slightly facing, can you see that image?
Yes, yeah.
So they're slightly facing the left. I'll show it back here. Like, they're slightly facing the left, and that contrasts to like the Emperor who's looking head on, you know? And like, because the Emperor's in reversed, that could suggest that they're coming into their power. But because the King of Wands is upright, it could advise you on an attitude to take as you come into this power. So I want to talk about their positions a little bit. The King of Wands is slightly facing to the left, so they have they're upright, but they are consciously channeled to their energy, their creativity, their enthusiasm. However, the Emperor, who might be facing who's facing like head on, is able to see sort of the creativity, but the practical hard work, the sort of they both stand right on a throne or sit on a foundation of a throne that is based in grey, and that talks about their neutrality. But with the King of Wands, there's so much yellow, there's so much black there, and there's black salamanders and black lions that are all encompassing their throne. So it's like trial by fire, action, sort of motivation, passionate. They even have they both have staffs in their hands. But with the King of Wands, their staff is as strong as them. But the Emperor, the Aries, has a staff and also has another object in their hand. So that means they need to weigh their sort of pros and consequences, their strengths and weaknesses, and move with awareness, conscious awareness of these attributes to sort of manifest their goal. This contrasts with the King of Wands because they're aware of this, but they do it anyway.
Yeah.
Their trial is by experience, but they are not outdaunted by the fear or the practicality or the sort of frustrations of life. They just do it anyway and see what happens. Sometimes this can benefit them because it can benefit them if they're aware of their weaknesses, but also it can hinder them if they're like creating a fire everywhere they go. Like, are they adding fuel to every single fire? How are they making this fire shine brightly, shine loudly? How is this fire gonna have longevity, you know?
Yeah.
And
yeah.
I bring this all up because it's quite interesting. Like I said, I'm an Aries. We're talking about motivation, and I'm inspired with how you are motivated. I'm inspired by how you consistently, you always have projects on the go. You're always working towards something that is going to give you satisfaction, that is sort of an interpretation of your own expansion, your idea that has expanded to a project. And that is the sort of that's resonates with the King of Wands. That's how they sort of expand. And I feel like it's interesting because it's like you've got me on this hand and you've got you on this hand, and it's like you like sort of peering in to develop your system or develop your network. Like you said at the start of the show, it's like we are motivated by our experiences but also by something greater, and that's why the King of Wands has their head towards their creativity, because they know it's an infinite source that is only strengthened by their confidence and motivation. I'm gonna ask for one. Actually, no, I'm gonna use this deck. Can I have a clarification, Spirit, on this spread? Yeah. So I've got 10 of Cups.
Okay.
And 10 of Cups is a beautiful card because it talks about positivity, abundance. I'm using the Kaleidoscope deck by Crystal Banner. And if you have a look here, right?
Yeah.
You see some figures, but they're old, holding hands, embracing. They've also got 10 cups in different colours. That could suggest that... well, when I see rainbows, I see magical, like... Is magical the right word? I don't know. Like, when I see a rainbow, I think of it as, like... It's one of the world's mysteries. It's one of the Earth's, like... incidences, opportunities of showing us beauty, of showing us, like... You know how you're talking about, like... how we all have a different, like, atom, or we all have a different sort of... what was the word that you used?
I was saying chemical.
Chemical, yeah. We all have, like, a different chemical, and, like, rainbows are sort of an opportunity of the earth or of nature, showing how those chemicals interact to show something of beauty. And even this family member, like, these figures, they're all embracing together. They're all at one with each other. There's no there's nothing gender specific in this card, so it could suggest that you're finding harmony with your family, your soul family, but it's also sort of this recommunion of love and partnerships and You know how earlier you were talking about how your projects, your inspiration are always coming from expansion, but they're always coming
Yeah.
from a place of joy and not from a place of like
Dread.
necessity. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
And I think that's really cool because like basically with tarot, you've got a different element corresponding with a suit. And we've seen fire and water together because the fire is to do with wands and the water is to do with cups. And normally that would be quite, that might intimidate people, right? Just because water and fire together, that's opposing elements, right?
Yeah.
However, because we're talking about motivation, because we're talking about what do we need to know when hitting hard times, being obstructed by obstacles, we're actually resourceful, we're actually expansive.
Yeah.
The fire in us allows us to be ambitious and goal orientated, motivated. It sort of reminds us of that energy, you know, that light match to the idea and what we're chasing. It's like fire starters, it's like spirit just going super fast.
Yeah.
However, the Ten of Cups is also a really important card because it's like, with cups to do with water, the whole goal of water is to flow freely. The whole goal of water is emotional fulfillment, acceptance, abundance, sort of domestic bliss, you know. If that's the primary goal of the cups, then the
Yeah.
cups are
Yeah.
always going to be fruitful. We have to be wary of the islands of life that may get us down, but it's restorative to come back to water. It's restorative to heal and to know that things are temporary, and happiness or lightness or the comfort of connection and happiness will always prevail, and it will always come back to us.
Yeah. Absolutely.
There's a lot of like personal like development personal transformation in this reading. And I think because the emperor's like a major theme, it's a major arcana, it's something that's always gonna come into our life. We all have to be the emperor in our own lives. However,
Yeah.
the king of wands is an attitude. It's a encouraging attitude of how to adopt that life. And then the Ten of Cups, that's just confirmation that it's our birthright, you know? It's positive, abundance, happiness, but also knowing that there is stability in accepting ourselves for who we are.
Yeah.
And chasing
100%.
those dreams, man. Oh, what did you get from that reading? Like, how did that resonate with you?
Yeah, it just felt really powerful, especially what you're saying about expansion and how that connects to the either navigating or confronting of structures in front of you. Because I think like it kind of goes back to what I was saying before about like the trick is to have your imagination and your ambition as expansively as possible, and
Yeah.
know that it might not be rapid, it might not be instant, it might be a slightly different path, but as long as you set
Yeah.
those boundaries as far widely as possible, then anything can be done.
Oh my God, that's so right. And again, like boundaries. We look at the emperor, we look at divine masculine, and how have they shaped their throne? It's through boundaries, it's through assertion. Like Aries initiate things, but the emperor finishing things. And the emperor also provides solid foundation for those things to grow, cultivate, provide longevity to.
Yeah, exactly.
What was your question again?
It was about confronting obstacles.
Confronting obstacles. I wanna look at the cards as well a bit one more time just to see if there's any more things I can get from this. Because in response to your question, when I see the emperor, they're like, the emperor moves through the world undaunted. So this could be a reminder that you need to stand your ground, or understand that the stubbornness of the emperor or the armor of the emperor may hinder expansion if it's from a material place, or maybe like I think with the emperor it sort of asks you to question where the source of the idea is coming from. Because if the emperor made the system, if the emperor made the if the emperor made his empire, he needs to have some conscious understanding of like what it's being built on. And the King of Wands is a passionate motivational speaker. They're loving, they're understanding, but they're also like, they're really encouraging, they're really passionate. So like these two together really make me think that you need to sort of fill any space that is rigid and uncomfortable and hard and cemented with creativity, with acceptance, with this idea that it might be like this right now, but it could expand to this later. So showing acceptance of that, showing sort of optimistic ideals towards your projects so that it can manifest to bringing you the happiness that you deserve.
Yeah, and what it made me think, especially when you were saying about the coming together of fire and water, the first thing I think, when you put fire and water together, you get steam, don't you?
Yeah.
And steam is a sort of thing that can go through the cracks, that moves hot, moves fast and moves far, and through which you can achieve what you want to achieve.
Yeah, and it's interesting as well because I did a reading fairly recently and I got this card, and this is called the Tower card, and it's basically signifying of a transformation that can bring you pain. And when it's like this, right, it's like, is it breakdown or is it breakthrough? But because it was reversed at the bottom of the deck, it's like an energy that we've learned, an energy that we are aware of, that we've become familiar to, and therefore a foundation to the drives that we have today. Because like with this one, I don't see these people as falling, I see them as flying. And it's interesting because the Tower is significant of these two individuals trying to hide. They wanted all the good things for themselves and they tried to hide in their ivory tower. But what happened? Lightning struck and it got hit from their ivory tower. Anything built on an unshaky foundation is going to come down. And the Tower reversed reminds us of our personal transformation into setting the life that we want by expanding with our projects, with our ideas, to bring us emotional fulfillment. I think that's the Tarot reading.
That's beautiful. Thank you so much.
I really enjoyed that. It was awakening.
Yeah, absolutely. Really, really inspirational.
Yeah,
galvanizing.
I really like that. Oh, I'm happy that you enjoyed, my love.
Yeah.
Oh, amazing. Well, I guess that brings us to our last segment.
Okay.
Oh, well, this is the direct message. And essentially, it's just a little take-home message for the listeners. So, my direct message for this week is that we have learned how to look after ourselves, how to motivate ourselves, and how to pull through over 2020. I think as we sort of come to the end of the year, or to be fair, this tarot reading is timeless. These episodes are timeless, but I think this direct message is asking you to remind yourself that the power is in yourself. You are your motivation. If you can't do it for anyone else, do it for yourself. Remind yourself with words, friends, memories, pictures, because I think whilst you remind yourself of your goals, it will seep into your brain because you can accept the blessings that are your birthright. They are. The Ten of Cups is here. I keep on getting drawn to this card as I'm doing the direct message. And I just think about like how we might not be able to see, like physically see why the motivation is needed, but we know that it's our birthright and therefore we need to accept where we are to build the life that we want.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I like that. Oh, my love, what is your direct message?
What is my direct message? My direct message, I mean, it's completely in tune with you. It's just the importance of expansion and abundance and stretching out your imagination as far as possible. But at the same time, being kind to yourself and accepting that each day is its own unique day, and whatever happens, happens, and whatever is meant to happen will happen.
Oh, that was amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sarah. Thank you.
I really, really enjoyed this reading. I enjoyed this episode just because, like, it's really important to, like, talk to people that are, like, in different spaces than you, because they can change your way of thinking. They can change your perspective and help you keep on going. Oh, amazing. This was great, Kwame.
Awesome. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming on. Honestly, you've been a thrill to talk to.
Live from London.
Honestly, live in London, in the mix. Please, could you leave listeners with some socials of where to find you?
Absolutely. So you can find me on Instagram at k.wa.me. And you can find me on Twitter at Kwame, which is KWAME _ the number 8. As
Amazing.
in just the number 8, not, yeah.
No, honestly, that was brilliant. Thank you for leaving your socials, because this has been brilliant, and I'm sure everybody's gonna love you, want to listen to you afterwards. Thank you everyone for listening. This has been another episode of DM Talks. I've been your host, Sarah DM, and I'm just in my feelings now. I'm just like, what do I do? This is just so emotional. Thank you guys for all listening. We're loving the fact that DM Talks is getting more recognition. Please follow us on Goodgoodgood _media. And you can find us on Instagram at dm.talks. I'm trying to think of any other shout outs. Oh, follow us on Apple Podcasts and start giving us some reviews, because we'd love to hear what y'all think about this show. But for now, I'm going to have to love you and leave you. And yeah, talk to my good friend Kwame, which has been a hell of a treat. So thanks you guys for listening, and I shall speak to you guys soon. Bye.
Bye-bye.